Hey guys, it's Chris at the Ultimate Recycler. This pile here of some tarps and some old fencing on top is a heap of old Oregon timber beams I scored from a old block recently. And those of you who watch my channel may have seen that video. I'll put the link up the top corner now. This entire ute and trailer load of Oregon beams, probably 130-year-old beams, had been left lying around and they were starting to rot, and they were pretty well destined for firewood, so I managed to salvage them. And today I'm back in the yard. Those ones there, we've just had a big heavy shower of rain, so I'm glad I've got them tarped to keep them dry, because Oregon will rot if it gets wet and damp and stays that way for a while. But what I'm going to do is I've started reusing some of the beams, and I'll show you what I've got planned here. At the end of our carport, we've got to build some gates. We're going to be picking up a puppy in a few weeks, and we have to make the backyard dog proof. So I'm going to use a couple of these big heavy ones as frames for a gate. So really good, nice solid Oregon timber, a bit rotten on the ends. I've got to trim the ends up, but it's fabulous grain. And these ones will be painted because we want them to last. I have saved a lot of the better pieces for furniture making. I want to make a nice outdoor table for our deck, but isn't that fantastic grain? And I believe the old Oregon doesn't have anywhere near the amount of knots in it that new Oregon does, so it's nice to work with. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to put one beam up against the corner of the house there. There'll be a beam across the top and another one up against the frame there to give a really solid heavy frame to mount some gates. So this video I'll take you through that process. I've got some old hinge pins here, very early ones. They're probably even blacksmith made, and they'll be good pivots for the gate. And I'll show you what I'm using for the gates. Just what you saw at the start of the video. These are old, well, they're not actually that old, but they're fencing panels. They're steel, and I'm going to actually bolt two together to make a nice high gate. I picked these up from a yard of a house I was cleaning up, so didn't cost me anything really, because I got the whole clean-up job for nothing, but everything had to go, and I figured these would be handy for something. So I'm going to make a gate out of those, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. I'll probably weld them together. I was going to bolt them, but I think welding would be easier. And something else, before we get back onto this project, something else I've done with the old Oregon beams is I picked out the more rotten ones and the ones with a bit more damage. And if we just have a bit of a walk over our new deck, Christine's currently working on a nice fernery area, and we thought we wanted a nice good backdrop to hide the fence. And here's the developments of the fernery. It's coming along really nicely, and you can see there's a kind of a tin fence behind those beams. I just put a couple of treated pine poles in the ground, probably the only thing I've actually had to buy new for quite a while, and just put all those beams up there, and we're just going to leave them natural as that is. Looks fantastic. It's a good backdrop. You still get to see the trees and the neighbours over the top, but it hides the fence. I'll just run the chainsaw down the end there to trim those ends up, and it's a beautiful backdrop for our fernery. The little seat there is not an old one, but it's nice and rusty. It came from a house we cleaned up as well. We decided to keep that, so this is going to be a great area. Anyway, back to the gate development. Here we go. The gates are up. Now, I have to admit I didn't end up doing this. We kind of ran out of time. I had a few other projects on the go, so we got our local builder to put them up for us. He did use modern hinges, and we didn't paint the poles because we decided against it. We liked the old rustic look. This one's yellow because where it was used in the old shop, it was obviously needed to be high vis. So that's part of its history. And being as thick as they are, they're going to last a long, long time. We have sealed the top so that no moisture gets in the top. But they make a great sort of posts to hang the gates off. Now, the gates, as you saw earlier, were fence panels, and our builder just sort of bolted those together in the end, and it works really, really well. We had to put a bit of mesh at the bottom because we've got our puppy now, and she's quite small. Let's go and meet Coco. Here she is. Come on, Coco. No, a cute little boxer puppy. She's 9 weeks old today. So she's settling in very well, and quite a character. Now, just before I wind this video up, I'll show you something else I've been doing. It's all about repurposing materials and hardly buying anything new. When you saw the deck in the earlier part of this video, we didn't have the glass panel fences up either. But I'm continuing this walkway down beside the shed. And it's basically now a raised walkway down to my workshop. I still have to finish off this end of it. Now these old timber constructions, there was actually 3 of them, and they were large shelving racks in this old shed, and they were there when we bought the property. So we've made use of those because I didn't need this as far as shelving goes. We've sat them on old bits of concrete. When we built the deck, we had to dig out an old path that went to the clothesline. So everything's reused where it can be. The concrete keeps the timber out of the dirt. It's the same level now as that walkway. And I've just got to finish this last little bit. And I've got some pellet timber. These are from a machinery pellet. And even though it's not very good quality timber, it's going to last fine because I'll be keeping it out of the dirt. Coco's always curious to see what's going on. So that's what we've been doing at home, reusing secondhand materials wherever we can. So I'll keep this video short, just to show you what we're up to. The dog gate's done, we're continuing in the fernery. And at some stage, now that the weather's starting to pick up, I will get back into that stack of Oregon, and I do have plans to make a nice rustic outdoor table for our deck. So stay tuned to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.